The easiest way to make people mad online as an artist is talk about your prices. If your prices are too low, everyone's gonna be mad because you're robbing yourself. And if your prices are what they deem to be too high, then you're gonna get crucified online for, I don't know, being a thief. So don't send hate to any parties involved. This is an artist on Twitter by the name Viv or VivC's writing pro tip: don't post your commission price on TikTok or Instagram. And it's a little drawn meme or the person's like, $100 for a sketch. I hope you effing end yourself. And then a commenter says, dude, I generally hope both your hands get yeeted off for this. $70 is crazy with no background either. So this is the post that kind of started it all. So it was like a discourse that started on TikTok. Viv has a series on TikTok where they're posting commissions they've done and the prices and the speed paint for it. So this was labeled as a $78 commission. And if you go to their page, a full body color sketch from them is $80, right? I feel like the word sketch gives a specific connotation. Like, I don't know, like it's gonna be like some sort of stick figure drawn in 5 minutes with like a brush, you know? Like, oh, you're gonna give him something like this, you know? Hello, haha, here's me with my boba. Yippee! Like, first off, the sketch looks great. This looks like a fully stylized illustration to me. Artists can charge whatever they want, personally, right? It's not necessarily that something is too expensive or da 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 da. It just means you can't afford it. Nothing wrong with you not being able to afford things. That's just life, you know? A Chanel flap looks great and lovely and all. Is it overpriced? You could argue it is for the material that goes into it, sure. But at the end of the day, it is overpriced to me because I can't afford a $10,000 handbag. And that's life. And you know what? It just do be like that sometimes. So if this is out of your price range, right? If $80 for this piece is overpriced for you, that's chill. You don't have to buy it. There are plenty of people who are buying it because it is completely within their price range to purchase. It is each to their own. A lot of people are really upset because if you're an artist and you talk about your prices online, it will make people mad. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad. It's just not worth $78. $78 and not even a background or anything. I wish my ego was this big. And then people in the comments of the tweet on Twitter are also mad. $100 for a sketch is wild. The most expensive art I paid for was a $160 piece, full art watercolor, and that was a deal between me and the artist because I wanted multiple pictures back to back. This is the result. Your sketches best be on this level for that price. Yeah, that looks great. And we can just end that statement there. It doesn't have anything to do with Viv and their art prices. People were so mad. I think we could break it down a couple of bits. You know, there's people on both sides, okay? You know, we have this person on Twitter quote retweeting it, writing, not gonna lie, hearing $100 for a sketch makes me agree with the guy on the image. Another person, Kiana, writes, I think if people started looking at commission prices in the context of an hourly rate, there wouldn't be much discourse about this kind of thing. Kiana adds, her commission sheet list is a very polished, colored sketch at $80. Looks like at least 2 hours of work, not including planning out the drawing, client revisions, gathering references. That's anywhere between $25 to $40 an hour, which I feel is pretty average and reasonable, especially if doing commissions is your sole source of income and you're an in-demand artist. And if you can't afford that, that's perfectly okay and fine. There's so many other artists who no doubt will do work within your price range. Artists already lowball themselves so much that most commission pieces you see are generally a steal for a custom piece of artwork. And yeah, besides like the hourly price too, like some people might look at it and be like, well, $40 an hour for art is like so expensive. Again, one, if you can't afford it, just say so. It's fine, right? Stuff in life is expensive. Two, you're paying for somebody's skill set too, right? Where the artist had to go spend years and years and years getting their art up to that quality and that skill level to deliver you that piece. So of course, the more experience and the higher the skill set the artist has, the higher their prices are going to be. Again, the third point, like Kiana said, the in-demand part. Vivian is popular. Vivian has like 442,000 followers, and that's just one of their platforms. So yeah, if they are a popular artist on social media, they're probably gonna have a really high demand for their artwork. And so if you have a high demand, you can also raise your prices. It doesn't matter how you or anybody else personally views Viv's skill level, right? Some people might look and be like, oh, well, like, doesn't matter if it has many followers. Like, here's some other artist that's charging pennies per hour and they're so much better, yabba 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 yabba, hypothetically, right? Because some people will make this argument. It doesn't matter what you personally deem the quality. If there is a demand, you can increase the price. It is what it is, right? Some people will look at Bansky's art and be like, well, that's not worth this much money, blah, 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 blah. Or the, I don't know, abstract artist who, you know, the banana taped to the wall, the completely red piece, paint a piece, whatever, you know. People love to do that with like abstract art. They look at it, they're like, well, I could do this in the bed. Okay, then just do it. If you don't want to pay for it and you think you can do it yourself, that's fine. Keep your mouth shut and just do it yourself in your basement. Call it a day and put up a red painting in your own bedroom, right? Like, let artists charge their prices. If you think it's too high, You're entitled to your opinion. Don't buy it. Which people were saying in the comment section, but everybody in the comment section of like both Twitter and TikTok, etc., were acting as if the artist held a weapon to people's heads, being like, pay my $100 for my sketch or else. Like, no, that's not what they're doing. You can swipe away, grab your phone, take your finger, like that, and then move on with your day. Also, on a complete side note too, shouldn't you be happy that you're seeing an artist charge fair rates for their work and they're getting paid for it? Artists historically make so little money, they're always undercharging themselves and barely getting clients. When you see an artist succeed, you should feel happy about it, no? With VTuber models, whatever. Some models are super expensive. That is fine. The artist is allowed to charge their prices. They have a brand name, they have a high skill set, they have a high demand. If you can't afford it, that's fine. Go commission somebody else that's within your price range. There will be artists that will be in your price range. Go find somebody that's in your price range. That was just something that I wanted to yap about because it doesn't matter what price the artist charges, people will just be mad. They're just always mad. If you're not like barely undercharging yourself, like it is what it is. And another commenter adds, and I think this is a really good point, I'll be so honest, since raising my commission prices years ago, I don't deal with any of these people. They're either people that have never worked a day in their life and or children, LMAO. And I think that's true too, right? It's always very interesting because if you work at a lower price range, typically you get very entitled people. Not all your clients are going to be very entitled, obviously, but there's an interesting correlation with the amount of people that complain about prices and ask for a ton of revisions and complain about the artwork when your art is priced cheaply according to, like, I don't know, the market rates versus when you price high. When you price high, very most of the time the clients rarely complain. You rarely get asked for a bajillion revisions. They're basically happy out the gate and you get paid better. Like it's typically always a win-win-win. And I do completely understand it comes with like privilege to be able to price higher. You have to have a brand name, existing clientele, and a lot of experience in the art field to build up this audience. But this is just a complete caveat. If you're an artist that's debating raising your prices, you're like on the fence about it, you'll typically get a better experience if you do so. We have more like AI stuff that I kind of want to yap about. This is a creator who's talking about a very creative way they have discovered to share their artwork to people who commission them without getting scammed. This is posted on Threads by Graveheart Art, which is a sick name. And Grave writes, keep having people back charge me on commissions once I send the work in progress, then try and feed it to AI. Then getting pissed at me when the stuff I add to my photos breaks their prompt and output. You really thought I wasn't gonna make my work in progress as unusable? I'll comment below some of the steps I take. In case you guys didn't know, this is a common scam with clients. Clients will commission artists and they'll be like, hey, I want this, that, and the third. I don't know. I want a girl lounging in a throne with a sword strapped to her waist, okay, looking intimidating. As the artist, you make a sketch for them. It's like a human sketch because you made it, and you give it to them, and then they take the sketch, and then they feed it to AI, and they cancel the commission and get a refund. So not only do they not pay a single cent, they took your work and fed it into AI. It's been happening in the art field for a minute because some AI prompts, like when they come out real wonky. So people have figured out, hey, if I put a sketch in there, then it can look more human and normal, right? Which sucks. So this is Grave's multi-step process to doing it. Grave adds, this is a regular commission from somebody who is awesome. I'm not going to give the scammer attention, so a regular client idea can get the spotlight. 1. Take a physical photo of my tablet instead of saving the image. 2. Duplicate and blur a multiply layer. 3. Duplicate another layer and add a halftone and chromatic A. Generate then apply a special filter in my fiance program for me to F up AI filter programs like Mirror AI. I apply glaze from the glaze program. So as you can see here, it looks like a sketch and there's all this wobbly stuff detailing and halftone pixels on it. And you're gonna be like, well, why jump through all of these hoops to do it? Well, because AI can't really read the image. And Grave adds, yes, it looks rough, but the client can still see what needs to be approved or not. Now watch what happens if I feed it into a popular AI redraw tool. It can't understand what it sees, so it spits out badly drawn generic anime boys. But yeah, here is the badly drawn generic anime boy, and boy, does this look rough. But this is exactly what was intended because now your artwork can't get stolen. Then in the comments, Grave adds, limiting replies to followers because AI grifters jerks keep manually tracing my art and feeding it as a seed image to try and get a gotcha. Another commenter, Aria Silva Art adds, a few tips from me. 1, it's unfortunately a cheap client problem in most cases. Price up. 2. Use platforms like Artistry that protects from chargebacks and keeps records of the whole convo in case they would want a refund for no reason but to scam you. 3. Make it very clear in TOS professionally that you don't allow your art to be fed through AI. 4. Be informative about AI protection. Some clients don't understand it and think you're missing their vision and think it's the end result. Brave adds, I'm working my way up to having the prices I really should have. The sad reality is that being able to price your work high and get clients comes from having built up good reviews and goodwill, and people are less likely to splurge on a big purchase or something unknown. It's the unfortunate grind behind things. And that's honestly the truth. At the end of the day, it's a double edged coin because, yes, on one hand, if you price your artwork up and you raise the prices, you avoid all the scammy weirdos or more of the scammy weirdos, right? Because the people who are scamming, they're trying to not spend their own coin. So they look for cheap artists, right? Monetarily cheap doesn't mean your art is bad, right? That's not what I'm saying. But if you raise your prices, you avoid a lot more of the scammers. Downside is if you raise your prices, it is harder for you to find client work. Just in this economy, the economy is pretty rough. Art is a luxury, yes, but that means that people aren't really like purchasing as much artwork in this economy because it is a luxury, right? Which I completely understand. So it is tricky for artists to raise their prices because of that, because they need to make money, but people aren't really spending as much money. So what do you do? It's a double-edged sword. In an ideal world, I absolutely wish artists could charge the fair prices they deserve and all these AI grifter scammers disappear. But Grave adds, manually tracing my art to then feed it to GPT to try and tell me glaze doesn't work, even though I fed it to all the popular platforms myself to make sure it's garbled and know for sure it works. Thereby doing extra effort to be an ass and steal my work is the very best way to get blocked outright and put on a perma blacklist. Wheaton's Law. I don't care if you want to sit in a dark basement and click generate over and over until you have the perfect good material. Good for me, leave me out of it. So here is somebody who it looks like, I don't know what this is. Is this ChatGPT or something? Like the new GPT? But it looks like they took the artwork, traced it, and then fed it into AI to try to AI generate something as like a gotcha. And then this was somebody else who, again, they traced the work, right? Like you can see the line art and then inputted it. They also got blocked. Another commenter adds, though, he didn't need to be an ass about something that can easily be proven with a scientific study. Glaze doesn't work, but this isn't the way to prove so. And Grave adds, sure, I'll accept that. A good link to an academic paper would have been acceptable. It's just weird, man. I just feel like these AI bros are on something. Like they desperately have to prove that their usage of Gen AI is good or whatever. So they're gonna do like a little, aha, I gotcha. Here's your art that I fed into a whole bunch of AI, even though you've explicitly expressed that you don't like it. Just so what? I can get a little bit of Twitter clout and waste a whole bunch of water? Yippee! Good for you. But it's kind of sad that as artists, you have to go to such an extent just to make sure that people don't steal your art and run it through AI. And even when you go through all these extents, all these hurdles to try to protect yourself, there are still a-holes on the internet that then trace your work and run it through AI regardless. That just sucks, man. But I'll have Anna or Graveheart art linked down below so you can go check them out because their art seems really cute. If you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on Etsy. I have art there like emotes and sub badges for streamers and creators. I also have a coffee with free resources for streamers and creators. And I stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. So I hope to catch you guys there or in another video.